Hey, welcome to Merricks Garage. I doubt you can see much because it's really dark up here. Ryder, front lights. Ah, there we go. This episode, we're gonna talk about lighting. You don't need to go crazy big budget, $1,000 light bars to get decent light. This thing right here cost me $50 off Amazon. Yeah, it's probably gonna break, but I'll buy another one. Okay, Ryder, turn it off, you're killing me. Turn on the rear ones, Ryder. These lights were like 30 bucks. 2 little pods, and they're awesome. Jonah, what do you think?
Yeah! Awesome! Yeah!
That's all he can do is just scream like a banshee. So that's all we got on these. Okay, Ryder, hit the rock lights. So here's the rock lights. Once again, didn't break the bank. Just some basic LEDs all around the truck.
Huh?
Here, Jonah, crawl around under the truck so they can see how well they work. Look at that, I can see him. If he was a rock, I would totally know where he was. A quick reminder that everything you're gonna see in this video today is linked down below in my Amazon store. Light bar, light pods, switches, relays, tools, you name it, it's all there. Click on it, it will take you directly to it. It helps me out if you click on that, and it helps justify to my wife why I spend so much time making these videos. Also, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and comment. This is an interactive forum. I hope this is helpful to everyone, but I also want to hear from you guys. So let me know what you're thinking. Now let's go take a look at some light bars. Before we jump into throwing the light bar in, let's just go through some basics. A relay. I didn't understand what these things did for the longest time. Now they make perfect sense to me, and I think they belong in every electrical circuit, unless you're talking less than like an amp. All a relay does is it removes the high power positive circuit from the switch. So instead of having the power run all the way from the battery into the cab, through the switch, back out through the firewall, down to the appliance that's being innervated, you have a relay that essentially these two wires complete the hot circuit. You've got a ground and you've got a signal. And all the relay does when you flip your switch for your lights, your compressor, whatever, all the relay does is open and close that positive circuit. So you've got the voltage running through the wire in the shortest possible direction, resulting in less voltage drop, resulting in more power going to the appliance. Multimeter 101. This is an indispensable tool whenever you're doing any electrical work. It allows you to test for continuity. Do you have a circuit that runs from point A to point B, or is there a break in it? It allows you to test for voltage. How full is my battery? Is this ground good? If you know what your voltage of your battery is, and you test your ground using this, and you do not see the same voltage that you do more or less with your battery, and you got a bad ground and your circuit's not gonna work. In regards to light bars and various other electrical stuff, I'm gonna show you how to test the amperage draw of any particular appliance. All you're gonna do is insert the positive and negative leads. You're not going to use it as positive negative, it's going to be more throughput, into the positive side of the circuit, and this will read what amperage draw that particular source is using at that moment. So first of all, let's jump into how to test voltage. I know this is basics for pretty much everyone out there, but there's 2 people that this helps. You're going to be dealing with 12 volts. Unless you've got some crazy military stuff and you're running 24, but in that case, you're probably not watching this video. We're dealing with 12 volts. Set your multimeter to 12 volts. On my ammo box, I can already read as to what my voltage is. My solar controller is going to tell me, the watt meter is going to tell me. Heck, I can turn my inverter on and it's going to tell me. But for the sake of experimentation, let's make sure this thing matches up too. Into my positive and negative, and I'm reading 12.5. So my battery, according to my little chart, is about 80% full. That's pretty good. This is a battery that's been sitting for a while. Now we're going to take a look at measuring amperage draw. Without knowing your amperage, you're not going to know what gauge wire, whether you need a relay, what kind of relay, do you need a high-powered switch, how decent does your ground need to be. There's so many things that you cannot know until you know your amperage that's running across the circuit. Yes, you can find that out by doing some basic math on the watts and the volts that come with the device, but it's better to measure it and meter it out yourself so you know for sure in your environment what it's going to be doing. So we're going to be testing the amperage using the multimeter. You're going to switch it basically into DC milliamps. I'm going to go with milliamps right now because I know this is not a high draw circuit. Milliamps, change the plug from the comm to the amperage. Positive over here, negative over here. I am drawing 5 milliamps. Swap that down to the 10 amp marker. Whoop. And I'm down to half an amp. There. I know what my amperage draw is. I can build my circuit accordingly. When I looked at getting a light bar for my truck, I was having a hard time with some of the numbers I saw out there. $2,000 for a light bar? I just wasn't going to get a light bar. It just seemed absolutely ridiculous. On the other hand, $50 for a light bar seemed absolutely ridiculous too. Until I started doing some research and discovered that, heck, if this thing worked for 6 months, I'm still ahead of the game in the long run. So I popped for it. I'm happy to say it's been working for a year. It does have an IP67 rating. IP stands for intrusion protection or international protection rating, something like that. First number refers to its protection from dust, 6 being the best, so it's fully sealed against dust. And the second number, the 7, refers to water. It is submersible up to 1 meter in water, which I'm never going to do. 8 would be you can go deeper than 1 meter. So that said, it has a great rating. Who knows? Maybe the company just made it up and slapped it on there. I don't know. But I'm still ahead of the game should this thing fail, which it hasn't so far. In addition to the rating, the nice thing about the LED light bars is they have such a low amperage draw. I personally went and measured the draw on my light bar. It says 288 watts. I didn't find that I was getting anywhere near that. I actually pulled it out and metered it out to about 8 amps. Not shockingly, second only to what size tire and lift do you have? The number 2 question I get asked is, what size light bar is that? And how did you put it in your grill? Well, the beautiful thing about the square body trucks is they're incredibly easy to work on. You can take them apart, put them back together, much like a Lego project, which is exactly what you need to do with this core support. It all comes apart very easily with a couple of bolts. Drill some holes for the light bar, slide it in, dingo's your bingo, you got a light bar. It's really that easy. The additional benefit of hiding it under the grill is technically, you should be driving around with your light bar covered, and you can get a ticket for that. So just be aware that that is technically the law. By hiding it at my grill, it's a lot less noticeable. That's why I got a $50 light bar. So put it where no one's gonna see it. Don't worry about it getting stolen. See, there's really not all that much to installing this guy in the core support. I drilled a couple holes and bolted it straight up. This is a 52-inch light bar, and it fit really well. Hindsight being 2020, I probably would not have gone with the curved light bar as it did pose some problems to fitting it, but nothing significant. And the other issue is down in here. You'll see that my hood latch does impact the cooling fins on the back of the light bar. It's easy to get around. I just put it down and then push it closed instead of just slamming it. All the wiring is very simple. Down to my switches. There you go. The lighting has never been great on my truck. The low beams were pretty ineffective. The high beams, while better, still not great. But that light bar, dang, that's awesome. Don't use it on the street. Don't be a jerk. Don't be that guy. But this was late at night, on a stormy night in the middle of nowhere. I knew I was going to be okay. So, $50 light bar for the win. I hope this has been helpful. I'll talk to you next time. Merricks Garage!